Ladies and gentlemen, let us now formally welcome the Managing Director of Monetary Authority of Singapore, Mr. Ravi Menon.
Once again, welcome to the third edition of the Singapore FinTech Festival. This year, we have close to 40,000 participants from more than 100 countries. The Singapore FinTech Festival has now become the biggest annual gathering of the global FinTech community. You guys made it happen. Thank you all for your overwhelming and unstinting support. When we began our FinTech journey in 2015, we imagined a smart financial center where innovation and technology are pervasive. We said we wanted to increase efficiency, manage risks better, create new opportunities, and improve people's lives. We didn't know, we still don't know how the future will look like, but we imagined what we want it to look like and set about trying to create it. Imagine a world where financial services are built around us, around our lives and our needs. Imagine a world where identity is human. Imagine a world with no identity cards, no passwords, no mother's maiden name. We are who we are, not just what we have or what we remember. This is how we've always identified one another throughout history, by recognition, more human, more natural. Of course, when we have large numbers of people, we don't know one another, we had to resort to artificial means. Advances in biometrics are now making identity human again. Many banks are already now letting us use our face as our new banking password. And here in Singapore, OCBC Bank is already doing this. Next, imagine a world where payments are invisible. Our shopping experience will be transformed. Cameras and sensors identify us and the items that we place in and out of our shopping bags. And when we are done, we just walk out of the store. No more checkouts, no more lines, no more fussing with cash and credit cards. Fantasy? It's already here. Just visit Amazon Go. It's happening. Imagine a world where insurance is intuitive. How many of us truly understand our insurance policies or are fully confident they will pay out when we need them? Imagine a world where the payout is automatically triggered by events and it is instantaneous. No more lengthy claims forms, no more waiting time, no more opaque processes. Science fiction? Not quite. MetLife's Lumen Lab here in Singapore is already making this a reality for gestational diabetes insurance. They're testing this out in MAS's regulatory sandbox. Imagine a world where financial advice is integrated. Imagine your own personal financial dashboard on your mobile devices, giving us a complete view of our finances, pulling in data from all those banks that we have deposits with, from all the insurance companies that we have policies with, and all the broker-dealers we have our investments with. Not to mention our pension or social security funds, tax liabilities, mortgages, everything. All in one place, a personal balance sheet in real time. And where financial advice is based on that balance sheet, customized for us, based on an integrated view of our unique situations at important milestones in our life, buying our first home, planning for our children's education, looking for investment opportunity to grow our retirement nest. Many fintech firms out there are already developing apps and solutions to do this. This is the financial sector we want to create, customized for our needs, invisible to our eyes, and an absolute delight. And I'm very happy that Singapore's 3 local banks understand this. That's why UOB Bank says it is right by you. OCBC Bank says simply spot on. DBS Bank says live more, bank less. Innovation and technology are key to realizing this future, but they're not enough. We need a fintech ecosystem to make this happen. We need common standards, open architecture, interoperable infrastructure. We need collaboration across government, financial industry, research institutions, and the fintech community at large. We need a free flow of ideas, knowledge, investment, people. And growing this ecosystem is what we've been hard at work for the last 3 to 4 years in Singapore, with the private sector and the public sector coming together in collaboration. Let me touch on 6 components of this fintech ecosystem that we are working on. First, people. Without people, their skills, their energy, and their enterprise, there is no fintech. Second, identity. Establishing who we are dealing with and authenticating information about that person is the first step in any digital transaction. Third, payments. Swift, secure, and seamless payments are fundamental to the digital economy. Fourth, data governance. We must ensure the responsible use of data so that we can have seamless and secure flow of data. We need to build strong capabilities in fintech-related research directed at solving real-world problems. And 6, platforms for innovation. We need mechanisms to foster collaboration and co-creation, to translate ideas into products, bridge problems with solutions. Let me start with the most critical part of the ecosystem, people. Shortage of technology skills and talent is a global phenomenon. And for a small city-state like Singapore, it is almost existential. And that is why it is our top priority. And we're taking a multi-pronged approach to this. Our institutes of higher learning are adapting their curriculum with industry input to develop students able to work with emerging technologies. Our financial institutions are putting in place programs to help reskill and mid-career professionals to take on the jobs of the future. We will continue to welcome and embrace top talents from across the world to augment our own talent pool and raise the game here. Minister for Education, Mr. Ong Ye Kung, will speak more about skills and talent this Wednesday, so I'll not say more. I want to move on next to the second part of the ecosystem, the pain of verifying identity. All those in the financial industry know this. It's called the KYC problem, know your customer problem. For personal KYC, Singapore government has taken the first step with the National Digital ID, which every resident of Singapore can use to establish his legal identity in a secure manner with 2-factor authentication and a public-private key pair when making online transactions. A powerful component of NDI is MyInfo. This is a digital service that enables citizens to authorize third parties to access their personal data sitting across many different government agencies. With consent, third parties can then use MyInfo APIs to access data that is government verified to authenticate their customers and make business decisions relating to that customer. Last year, MAS and the Government Technology Agency of Singapore, GovTech, started a pilot with 4 banks to enable individuals to open a bank account online using MyInfo with no compromise to KYC standards. And today, we can open a bank account or apply for a credit card online and instantly when we give consent to our bank to access our data through MyInfo. More than 20 financial institutions in Singapore today are using MyInfo to provide more than 110 digital financial services. So we have substantially solved the personal KYC problem. But corporate KYC is far more complex. Last year, I shared with you that the MAS is working with the local and foreign banks to explore a shared services utility for doing corporate KYC. This is potentially a transformative project. And we made good progress in harmonizing various banks' KYC systems and integrating the proposed KYC utility with the bank's infrastructure. This is no mean feat for those who know this stuff, given the diversity of banks' KYC processes and their internal IT systems. But the economics did not work out. Our proposed solution was going to cost more than the savings that banks were going to get out of it. So we've decided to take a pause on the project. The banks participating in the KYC project will publish a report later this week on their learning experience. I hope this report will inspire new ideas to help solve this corporate KYC problem in a cost-efficient way, because it's a problem that needs to be solved. So we tried, we failed, we will learn, and we will do better next time. Innovation is about experimenting and learning from setbacks, which is why, just as we showcase our successes, let us also be open about our setbacks. This is a spirit of enterprise we need in the financial sector here and across Singapore. And we will continue to explore other ways to alleviate the KYC pain for financial institutions and their customers. So MAS and GovTech, working closely with industry, are now facilitating financial institutions' credit assessment of SMEs using trusted government data. Today, a young SME that wishes to obtain bank financing may face difficulties because there's a lack of credit history. We will help pool trusted data from government sources on the business as well as the key individuals associated with the SMEs to facilitate a more informed credit assessment. We will run a pilot with 3 banks in the first half of next year. So that's where we are on identity. Next, payments. We have substantially completed Singapore's own national e-payments infrastructure. There is FAST, 24/7 real-time funds transfer infrastructure. There is PayNow, which rides on FAST to enable instant money transfer to an individual or business using their personal ID or their mobile phone number or unique entity number. There is UPOS, Unified Point of Sale Terminal, that can accept all major credit card brands, whether using a smart chip, NFC, or a QR code. And now we have SGQR, a single standardized QR code that can represent multiple payment schemes. This is the first of its kind in the world. That was the good news. The pain point that remains for banks, businesses, and individuals is cross-border payments and settlement of assets. Cross-border payments involve multiple currencies, and cross-border settlements involve multiple assets. And there is no single trusted central party to do this. And this is why we think distributed ledger technology holds promise in this area. Many of you are familiar with Singapore's Project Ubin. It involves the MAS and the financial industry here working closely. And its aim is this: to make cross-border payments and settlements cheaper and faster at no compromise in security or privacy using blockchain technology. In 2016, Project Ubin demonstrated that banks can pay one another without going through the MAS or the central bank, using a blockchain-based digital representation of the Singapore dollar, a central bank-issued digital currency. Last year, Project Ubin successfully achieved decentralized netting of payments while preserving transactional privacy. This year, we have two more advances. First, the Project Ubin team has successfully harnessed blockchain technology for the settlement of tokenized assets. Now, if you think about it, in the analog world, payment and exchange of goods are done at the same time, usually. In financial terms, we call this delivery versus payment, DVP. Basically, it eliminates settlement risk. In other words, a seller cannot abscond with your money without delivering the goods. But how to achieve DVP and eliminate settlement risk in the digital world? MAS, the Singapore Exchange, and various industry partners worked together to tokenize digital currencies and security assets so that they can be exchanged simultaneously, thus achieving final settlement and delivery versus payment. This has potentially powerful implications for not just the financial sector, but for a broad spectrum of the economy. We've published a report from the experiment. Please take a look, consider the findings, work with us to advance this cause. Real-time settlement, still a holy grail in the world of finance, which we must collectively solve. Second, Project Ubin advanced this year. We are working with like-minded central banks to explore faster, cheaper, and more efficient cross-border payments. MAS, together with the Bank of England and the Bank of Canada, and various commercial banks, did an in-depth study of the inefficiencies that exist in today's international payment systems. MAS and the Bank of Canada have begun work on linking our respective blockchain platforms to explore the possibility of instant 24/7 settlement of cross-border payments transactions. We're very much looking forward to reporting on progress on this at next year's FinTech Festival. The fourth part of the ecosystem, data governance. The ability to aggregate, store, process, and transmit data is especially across borders, is critical to the digital age. Yet, we all have deep-seated concerns about data privacy, confidentiality, security, and the ethical use of data. Now, if we don't address these concerns, we will not have the consensus that is necessary to achieve the many benefits of the free flow of data and technology. What do we need to get right in data governance? First, data must be protected. We must safeguard privacy, confidentiality, and security. Next, data must be used in a responsible, transparent, and ethical manner. We must be able to explain the results of data-driven algorithms. We cannot hide behind the black box. Humans, not machines, are accountable for decisions driven by AI or data analytics. We must ensure that the outcomes of data or AI-driven processes are ethical, free of bias, and socially acceptable. Only then can we create an ecosystem where data flows seamlessly in a trusted manner. MAS has been actively working with industry to develop principles to guide the responsible use of data in financial services. And so we're pleased today to release a set of principles to promote what we call fairness, ethics, accountability, and transparency, or FEAT, F-E-A-T, in the use of AI and data analytics. I'm told it's the first of its kind in the world where the regulator and the industry have come together to set guidance on responsible use of AI and data analytics. And I'm sure this will be a living document that will continually get updated as we learn more. Next, on the international front, or the cross-border front, we need more data connectivity and less data localization. This is a serious risk. Data localization measures are on the rise around the world. If data cannot cross borders, the digital economy cannot cross borders, and we will all be the poorer for it. Now, not all data localization is bad. There may be some legitimate concerns about national security. But a good part of data localization that is happening in the world today is due to misguided notions of cybersecurity or data privacy, or worse still, old-fashioned protectionism. This is a key challenge for the technology community to solve, together with policymakers, how to enhance data connectivity while taking into account the issues of data sovereignty. Many of the technologies do exist today, end-to-end encryption, anonymization, and so on, and we have to push this boundary further. Some experiments are already underway. For example, here in Singapore, UOB Bank is collaborating with Intel to test out an interesting solution. It will allow the bank's staff in Singapore to run a federated analysis of data residing in other countries, branches in the other countries, and obtain an integrated output of that analysis without seeing any of the actual data. MAS and the Bank of Thailand are very keen on this project, and we are participating as observers. We need common data standards across countries so that data can flow freely in an environment of trust and security. In the digital economy of the future, data connectivity agreements among countries will become as important as today's free trade agreements. Another important element of the fintech ecosystem is applied research. Last year, MAS launched the 27 million Singapore dollar grant scheme to support R&D in AI and data analytics for the financial sector. We've received more than 30 applications from financial and research institutions. We've now put out 5 calls for applied research proposals in econometrics and data science, backtesting methodologies, quantum computing for financial sector, explainable AI. Last year, MAS and the industry also began collaborating with MIT Media Lab to do serious fintech R&D. MAS, the industry professionals, and MIT researchers have come together towards developing prototypes that look into applications of AI and distributed ledger technology in financial services. They include use cases in smart contracts, trade finance, and central bank digital currencies. Earlier this year, the Intellectual Property Office of Singapore, IPOS, established a FinTech Fast Track initiative for patents. Under the Fast Track, FinTech patents can be granted in as quickly as 6 months compared to the industry convention, which can be up to 2 years. Once patented in Singapore, applicants can leverage on our global patent highways to expedite registration of their patents in more than 30 overseas markets. The final piece in the fintech ecosystem, platforms for innovation. Innovation does not occur in isolation. We need platforms to connect people and ideas, problems and solutions, and foster collaboration. And one such platform we are excited about is AFIN, the ASEAN Financial Innovation Network. Let's begin with a problem statement. There are about 1.7 billion adults globally who are unbanked. 1 out of 3 of them, of the unbanked, come from just 4 countries in Asia, from China, India, Pakistan, Indonesia. It is a shame that in this day and age, so many do not have access to a bank account, do not have access to secure and efficient means of payment, do not have insurance protection. The root of this problem is twofold. Banks face high costs in reaching out to customers in remote villages. And frankly, many of their mainstream financial services may not be suitable to the needs of these customers. Now, fintech firms, on the other hand, are able to create quite agile and mobile digital solutions to access and serve these underserved markets. But they lack the resources to scale and penetrate new markets. This is where AFIN comes in. To bring banks and fintech firms together to develop solutions to penetrate these hard-to-reach markets, AFIN is spearheaded by the MAS, the ASEAN Bankers Association, and the World Bank's International Finance Corporation, IFC. And this Wednesday, AFIN will launch the API Exchange, or APIX. It is the world's first cross-border open architecture platform to enhance financial inclusion. APIX is both an online fintech marketplace and a fintech sandbox. As a marketplace, it will enable financial institutions to discover and connect with fintech firms through API channels on a globally curated platform. As a sandbox, AFIN provides a platform for financial institutions and fintech firms to collaborate and experiment on solutions in a contained environment. So please step forward to participate in this exciting enterprise to deepen financial inclusion in ASEAN and the Asia-Pacific region. Next, another platform. MAS and the Infocom Media Development Authority, IMDA, are working together to create a cross-border innovation platform for SMEs called Business Sans Borders. Business Sans Borders will do two things. It will enable SMEs to connect in a global services marketplace where they can explore synergies in digitalizing their business processes and also mutualize their cost. It will allow for solution providers to more effectively reach out to these SMEs who tend to be highly dispersed and are sometimes hard to reach. Business Sans Borders will begin with a proof of concept next year with 3 features. First, a sandbox where these startups and the established players come together to experiment and build relevant solutions. Second, an app store where SMEs can access a wide range of services from finance and logistics to human resources. And third, an AI engine to match SME suppliers with buyers for products and services across ASEAN and hopefully beyond. Let me end where I began. Fintech is not just about technology, though the technology is very important in all that we do and will help to solve many real problems. Fintech is not just about finance, though we want to create a world where financial services are built around us, and we want to empower hundreds of millions of people to participate in the modern economy. Fintech is about what Sakit Shaikh reminded us of earlier today. It's a spirit of enterprise that is infused with empathy and lifts us to be better people. It is about innovation, inclusion, and inspiration. Everything we do in fintech must always have this larger purpose: to improve the lives of individuals, to build a more dynamic economy, and to promote a more inclusive society. This is the fintech spirit. And over the next 5 days of this festival, may you find that spirit, and may you be inspired to break new ground and seek a better, newer world. Thank you all for your support. Have a great FinTech Festival. Thank you.